And welcome back to KHN Coding. This is St. Raz, and we finished the warm-up 1 and warm-up 2 sections of Nick Perlante's site, Codingbat. And we're going on, these are specialized sections after this. I don't know if there's a particular order we were intended to go in, but we're going to go ahead and start with string over here, and String1. One interesting thing to note is that today I was just curious, so I jumped onto my phone and visited Codingbat. And as it turns out, I performed this exercise on Codingbat from an Android phone. So I did have some troubles with having to zoom in and out a lot, and some of the characters seemed kind of weird. So it was a little labor intensive, but it did execute properly once I got all the code in. So I guess at least we can say it's not impossible. So here we are, the first exercise. Hello name. Given a string name, i.e. e.g. Bob, for example, return a greeting of the form hello Bob. So this is pretty easy. We've done concatenation before, so we can do this in one simple line. Return hello, and then use the concatenation there. Name is going to be the name. Let's not forget to go ahead and put in that last character there. And there we go. One thing to note, this is a character. This space is a character, so yeah, that fails. And also, hello with a small h is different from hello with a capital H, so don't forget to check case sensitivity. And in changing strings or copying them over and such, we can manipulate case using various methods. And going on to the second one here, make ABBA. Given two strings A and B, return the result of putting them together in the order A, B, B, A, e.g. hi and bye returns hi, bye, bye, hi. And it looks like they're not wanting any spaces there or anything, so. And return. Is it really that easy? It really is. Really is. I don't think we have anything using loops or anything yet. Actually, right here, the beginning string exercises are actually simpler than some of the exercises that manipulated strings in these warm-ups, but that's okay. Make tags. The web is built with HTML strings like yay with the, and this is the tag. This is a string. Okay, this is a string inside the quotes here, which draws yay as italic text. In this example, the I tag makes the opening and closing chevrons. That's a type of parentheses or bracket. Actually, I should say bracket. I think bracket is the superclass, but these V-shaped, but it looks like a V on the side, those are chevrons to distinguish them from the rounded parentheses, the curly braces, or the square brackets. And those are the terms that I use for those. Those are considered the most proper, most specific terms. So we've got the chevrons around the I. The closing tag in HTML usually is the same as the opening tag, but there is a slash there. So we've got the chevron, slash, and then the identifier for the tag, the I in this case, and then closing chevron. The I tag makes the I and closing I, which surround the word yay. Given tag and word strings, create the HTML string with tags around the word. For example, yay inside, nested inside the italics tag. So And what we have here, we're going to return a string consisting of the whole thing there. This string is going to be the type of our return, and it's going to consist of string tag, the tag type, and then also going to get a word passed in. That's going to be our text. So, and we can do this in one line as well. We just need to break it down. So we're going to be returning our string. We don't have to declare a variable since we're going to return it all in one go there. Now this is the tag. So let's return, and let me see. I think they're just giving the tag. So we return our opening chevron plus the tag plus the closing chevron. Now this is all for the opening tag. These are both chevrons for the tag. And then we add the word, and then we're going to add, this is the closing tag, the first part of the closing tag, and then tag again, and then the, darn it, the closing part of the closing tag. And I think that's it. So we've got the left chevron, the tag, the right chevron, the text we're passing in, and then the left chevron and the slash, the tag again, and then the right chevron. And it looks like I managed to do it right the first time. This is one of those problems. It seems like there's a lot to do here, but conceptually very easy to do. So just break it down, just take it piece by piece, it's fine. Make out word. Given an out string length 4, such as, let me see, the double left and then double right chevrons. In a word, return a new string where the word is in the middle of the out string. For example, word nested within the double chevrons. Note, use str substring ij to extract the string starting at index I and going up to but not including index j. So what we've got, make out word. Now, the fact that they're using out here in some programming languages like C++ or C, they use chevrons sometimes in pairs like this to indicate data that's going in or out of a program or out of or a function or something like that. So, but in this case, all we need to do is nest. Okay, they use different characters here, so we're going to nest our character type in there. You know what? Let me check something real quick. Oops. Let's just do a return, and we're just going to return nothing. I'm not sure exactly. This obviously doesn't pass, but I'm seeing what they have that's going in there. See? Okay, yeah. Okay, I see what they're doing there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do this in a single line too. So we're going to return in a single line. Okay, then we'll return out, which is the name of that first string, out, and we're going to take a substring, and we're going to take from the very first character, which would be index 0, up to 2, but not including 2. Okay, so here it'll be this character 0, character 1, not the character at 2. Okay, and then we're going to concatenate, and we're going to add we're just going to do word because we're printing the whole thing out. Okay, and now we're going to do out substring again. Now here we're going to use just 2. And what this is going to do is when you do a substring and you get only a single index, it's going to print from that index to the end of the string, the whole thing, whatever's left, starting at that index there. And that's what we have right there. Passes all tests. And a lot of times you'll find this index. This index may not be as simple as just a simple integer. Sometimes you have to perform computations. You'll have to find where the end of the string is and count to the left, or you'll have to check to make sure you're not out of bounds or something like that. But on to the next one. And let me see. Extra end, given a string. Return a new string made of 3 copies of the last 2 characters in the original string. The string length will be at least 2. Now this has 3 copies of the last 2 characters, so this seems like a really good candidate to create a string for our answer. And we'll go ahead and initialize that to empty. Okay. And we could do a for loop here. We could just concatenate it, but then we're repeating ourselves. We want to keep our code dry. Remember, DRY, don't repeat yourself. Can't say that enough. Yes, I heard it. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a for loop. Int I. Actually, it might be just as many characters to write the for loop, but that's okay. It's good practice. So int I. So I is less than 3, because we know we're going to get 3 copies. Then get our incrementor there. And then we're going to take answer. We're going to append to answer those last 2 characters. Now it says the string length will be at least 2, but we don't know how long the string is going to be, and obviously we've got a lot of tests to pass, so we're going to get different length strings. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our string str substring, and almost like I'd done this before, we just talked about this at the end of the last exercise. So we're going to take str length, and then we're going to take the last 2. That might be wrong there. Oops, what happened here? Oh, I didn't return it. Return answer. I think this is wrong. What's going on? Expected line 4. Answer plus equals substring. Oh, there we go. I was wondering if that was right. That's like 2. Is it 2 or 3? But it is 2, so that's correct. And you'll see it takes the last 2. Our edge cases are a string with only 1 or 0 characters, but they specify that was not going to be the case in this one. So this is easy. They give us a solution on this one. Did we not get a solution over here? Yeah, we didn't get a solution over here. Of course, these are so simple, it's kind of hard to imagine what other way could you do it, right? Let's see their solution, see what it is here. Oh, okay, here's a good way to do it. See, what they did was they created a string called end, and then they set that to the last 2 characters, and you see they use, this is the same code here. I don't know how else you would do that. And then return end, concatenated end there. So. Okay, given a string. Return the string made of its first 2 characters, so the string hello yields HE. If the string is shorter than length 2, return whatever is there, so X yields X, and the empty string yields the empty string. Note that string length returns the length of a string. Well, we've been using length a lot, so return the string made of first 2 characters. Looks like it just wants the first 2 characters. Okay, so what we can do is just use a conditional here. If str length is less than 3, return the string. If it's less than 3, it could be at most 2, return string, and else we return str substring, and then start index 0 and go to 2. And that should do it. Yep. And see our solution. Okay, if string length is greater than equal to, or equal to 2, then return string substring 0, 2. They just flipped them around. We were checking for less than in returning the string. They were checking for greater than and returning just the 2 otherwise. So that's not really a substantial logical difference. First half, given a string of equal length. Even length, I'm sorry, equal to what if there's only one? Okay, given a string of even length, return the first half, so the string woohoo yields woo. Okay, so let me see, return str, we're returning part of a string, so it's going to be substring. Now how do we get the first half? Well, we're going to start at index 0 obviously because it's the first half. So how do we get the stopping point? Well, we don't have to put an integer. We can put a variable or we can put a computation. So we can take str length, don't forget the empty parentheses there, and divide it by 2. And there we go. Notice that we're starting at index 0. Now index 0, and we're going up to but not including the second parameter we pass in. Okay, we could put 0, 0, or if we put up to but not including. So if we put 0, 1, okay, so it's going to be 0, 1, up to and including. So this is index 0, okay. This is index 1. We don't print index 1, okay. We could also put 0, 0. I wonder if we get an error. Nope, no error. And because of that, this actually comes out correct for an empty string. So just because you're calling substring, depending on your computations and the logic in your program, you could end up, in actuality, for certain inputs, returning substring 0, 0, which does not throw an out-of-bounds error for an empty string. So just so you guys know that. And remember, we can fix our code here. Just Control Z, so we can go back, run that. So we get that nice little check mark on our list there. And without end, given a string, return a version without the first and last character. So hello yields L, ELL. The string length will be at least 2. So hello becomes ELL, Java becomes AV, coding becomes Odin. Alright, so let's get Odin. Okay, so we're going to return. So we've got str substring. Okay, to skip that first character, that's easy enough. All we have to do is start at index 1. And it says string length will be at least 2, so we shouldn't have to worry about any out-of-bounds exceptions. And then what we're going to do is str length. Okay. Let's say we have, let me see, hello is 5 characters, but string length is 5, but the index is 1 less than that. The index of the last character. So if we do string length, it would be string length minus 1. If we do that, that way we're not accidentally printing the last. Up to, but not including the index. So that one was simple enough. Combo string. Given two strings, A and B, return a string of the form short plus long plus short, with the shorter string on the outside, the longer string on the inside. Strings will not be the same length, but they may be empty. So we don't know the order. You'll notice here long string comes first, this one long string comes second. So we don't know the order that the strings will come in, but we do know we do not have to check for them being equal. Now, an empty string does have a length. The length of an empty string, of course, is 0, but 0 is a perfectly respectable integer, so the compiler is not going to have a problem with that as long as it doesn't go into places where it's not supposed to be. For example, in the divisor, you're not allowed to divide by 0, and the compiler will complain about that, but we don't have to worry about it in this particular instance. So we need to check to see which one is longer and which one is shorter. So let me see. Let's go ahead and string, and we can do short. We're just going to use S, and we're going to leave it empty. And then string L, be empty. And we can do an if A length is greater than B length. Okay, if A is longer than B, then L, string L, is going to equal A, and string S is going to equal B. Otherwise, S equals A and L equals B. And I should say assign to S A and assign to L B. That would be a more correct way to say it. Now, it is true that S is equal to A because we're making S equal to A. But don't confuse the single equal sign with the double equal sign. The single is the assignment operator, and the equals is the logical comparator. So now we return short, long, short. And there it is. Easy peasy. And we can use this as just single if else statements here, simply because we don't have to worry about them being equal, because it states in the parameters of the exercise that that's not going to be the case. So, and non-start. And I am going a little bit quicker here with these exercises. Now you're free to jump around within the video or between videos, and I am trying to put the topics that we're covering and the range of the exercises in the video descriptions to make it easy for you to find a particular one that you need to. So if you really want to have time maybe to code along in a different window or screen, you can slow down the playback, I believe. And if you're watching the videos without actually coding or trying to get just a general scheme of things, you can also speed up the playback speed. Not that my voice doesn't sound funny enough already, but once you get used to that, it can allow you to cover a little more ground in the same amount of time. So back to the exercise, non-start. Given two strings, return their concatenation, except omit the first character of each. The strings will be at least length 1. This is very easy. Return a substring course, all we need to do is omit the first character, so there's no complicated computations or anything. We just start index 1. And where's their empty strings? Oh, it says there's no empty strings, so it's going to be at least length 1. So Nonstart left 2, given a string, return a rotated left 2 version, where the first 2 characters are moved to the end. The string length will be at least 2. So we do this, we're going to omit the first 2, right? So string sub string. Well, we're going to omit the first 2 characters. So what we would do is just use 2. Now remember, when you just put in a single value there, what it's going to do is it's going to start at that index, print all the way out to the end of the string. Now we're not finished. We're going to concatenate the first 2 letters. Now by doing this to the right of the concatenation, those are going to end up on the end of our output there. So it's going to be str substring. Now we're going to grab the last 2 letters, and so that's going to be str length minus 2. Now, is this going to work? Now, what happened? Let me see. Length minus 2. What happened here? Oh, I'm sorry. It's the first 2. So actually, the first 2 is really easy. Wasn't paying attention. And it's fine now. If only you pay attention, right? And our solution. And oh, wow, it's like, is it really same to the exact character? Okay, let's see, right 2. This is kind of the inverse of the previous exercise. Given a string, return a rotated right 2 version. The last 2 characters are moved to the start. String length will be at least 2. So return, now it says the last 2 characters are moved to the start. So str substring, and the last 2, let's see, that would be str length minus 2, and then we're going to concatenate that with str, and we're going to start at the beginning, but then we're going to stop to our length a couple spaces off of the end. I think I'm going to make sure I get this right because I misread it last time. Last 2 characters are moved to the start. So this is substring string length minus 2. That's the last 2 characters, and then we're starting at the beginning of the original string and stopping. And yes, I got that right this time. And I think this is we're coming up on 30 minutes, so let's do this one, and then we'll call it for this particular video the end. I didn't plan that out. That's just the way it came up. Given a string, return a string length 1 from its front, unless front is false, in which case return a string length 1 from its back. The string will be non-empty. That means it's going to have at least 1 character in it. So front is false. What's front? Well, front is the Boolean value that's passed into this function. So we've got that Boolean there. So this is pretty simple. It's either you do things one way or you do things the other depending on the value there of front. So what we can do is if front and then do else. If front, this is a completely valid conditional because front is either going to be true or false. So this is going to be, this code block inside the brackets here is going to run if front is true, because that's what we're asking. If front is true, if true, then we're doing this. So this is going to be string length 1 from its front if front is true. So unless front is false, that would be our alternate, our else. So here we go. Return a string length 1 from its front. So str substring. That's going to give us the very first character. In this one, str substring. CSTR length -1. Should be return. It's not a return statement. That's just and there we go. Let me see. Can we return character at? I think we can. It possibly won't work because is a character going to be considered a string? So let's do char at index 0. Oh, look at that, incompatible types. I thought that might be the case. A characters, we use char at to append characters to a string sometimes, and that works. But when we try to return character at, it doesn't like that. Characters and strings are actually disparate data types, so that's the reason that worked. That didn't work. So, and next time we're going to go ahead and pick this up with without end. We ended at the end, and we're going to continue on with without end. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you. Like, subscribe, comment. Any questions or requests, I'd be glad to see them. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.